I'm Michael Miller. We have a very special guest, Osmani Gonzalez. You are the president of the Miami-Dade County Council, PTA and PTSA.
Yes, correct. That's a long name, but
It is, and I don't want to confuse things. So how did you get into public service like this?
I actually started in 2017 at my school. I had asked my teacher, hey, do we have a program for fathers? And then there was a program called All Pro Dads. And I asked my principal, hey, do you think anybody would show up?
You said at your school?
At my school.
Well, you look like you're like 39, all right?
Yes, sorry. At my kid's school. I apologize.
Okay, right.
So, yes, there was a program called All Pro Dads. And my passion has always been to get fathers involved in their kids' school. And that's really how I started. We started that program. I asked, and it was actually the principal. I said, would anybody show up? You know, do you think that we can do this? She said, hey, Osmani, nobody's going to show up. Well, to her surprise, we had 600 dads come with their kids to school that day.
And it was focused on dads and involvement.
Yes.
So was the principal surprised?
Oh, my goodness. She was not there that day, so her AP was going crazy because we had purchased food for about 300 people. And 600 dads showed up.
Why would you even think that 300 people would show up?
I don't know. Just
and how did you communicate with them?
I literally went classroom to classroom. I literally went classroom to classroom and talking to them. Hey, we're gonna have this event.
To the kids?
You know, to the kids. Hey, invite your dad.
Gave them a flyer or something.
Gave them a flyer and invited the whole school, which maybe that was.
So you must have been stunned.
I was. It was one of the best days of my life, but one of the worst because we had to send back about 250 kids. So I really, really felt nervous. And
when you said send back, what does that mean?
That meant that they couldn't get into the breakfast.
Oh my goodness!
We had set up an hour and a half, and could not get them all in.
How did you know inside that it was going to be successful?
I really didn't. I was hoping. It was as I threw up a faith. You know, I was just really hoping. I hope this works. And, went to class, and they were there. But I did have a teacher that when everything was over came to me and said, hey, do not stop what you're doing. Look what has happened.
Sometimes when we know our subconscious speaks louder than we're willing to listen to.
Correct.
And just like the principal said, no one's going to show up, all right? But he said, surprise, all right? But it really says there's a thirst for that.
Yes, there is.
And why is it? Why is it like that?
That's actually what we've been studying. There's such a need. I was studying about the history of why, why we have so many fatherless homes. And if you go back to war times, right? We went through a whole history. In the wartime, the men went to war and left the women, right, alone, kind of, working and treating. So now the kids lost that touch with their dads. Even if you go a little bit further back, the families worked in the farms. And the kids were there, and it was really, you had that family community. And through the years, as the revolution of work, right, and dads working in factories and things like that, you took away the dads again from the families. So all this through the years have ended up or caused a lot of fatherless homes. And I just feel really passionate. My father was not. He's still involved with my mom. They're still married, but he wasn't there. He didn't go to the games. He didn't. And I remember as young, I wanted him to be there. And I realize now as I'm older, I realize that same need is in a lot of kids. There's a lot of single moms and single dads out there. It's a big problem.
So you remember Leave It to Beaver and all those shows?
Absolutely.
You go to breakfast and the family would be there. They'd walk out of the house with a briefcase and they'd come home and dinner would be there and over where the kids and the wife took care of everything, including the children.
100%. And I'm glad you said that because yesterday we were actually talking about, older programs had family values, right? They had the father and the mother were most of the time there. You go to some programs where maybe it wasn't the father, but it was an uncle, but he was there. There was a leader in the house. And now if you look at a lot of programs without saying names, that's missing.
So often we need to learn, dads, how to interact with their children. And that is something that you have to experiment with, or you had good examples on what to do that. Whether it was your daddy didn't know how to do it. I was one of those dads like, I'm going to break the baby if I hold the baby. No, you're not, all right? So, but that was in the back of your head. No, here, you take care of the babies. I'm supposed to go do something else.
That's right.
And so often now we see that the husband and father stays at home, the wife goes to work. We see that more and more, and where it's becoming a little bit more acceptable. So here you are, you walk in, and maybe you wanted 300 people, but 600 people showed up, all right? And as it was going on, you were leading this group.
I was leading this group. That day I was not able to do the presentation. That day was really, really, really difficult day because I never got the chance to do the presentation because we spent the whole time bringing dads in and giving them food, and then it was just it stopped the whole school. That event literally stopped.
What
the whole
time of
school.
the day was that?
That was early in the morning. So I really figured out that the best time to do it is early because the dads can take a little bit of time off work and then go back to work instead of doing it either late or in the middle of the day.
And what part of the school was it in?
So this was in the cafeteria. So we have
A great venue. Everybody's there. You made it convenient for them. You take Johnny to school today, hang out for a little while.
Yes. And the kids love it. You should see the faces in those children when dad shows up. It's such an inner need that's built into them, daughter or son.
So tell us about the presentation and who made it.
So the presentation, it was really great. This program that I was working with at that time, what they do was they give you a PowerPoint and you can adjust it, right? And there's a section in that event that is my favorite, and is we ask the child to say, I'm proud of you because, right? And then we do the same thing with the father. There's not a dry eye in that place when those, because once we do that, I give them like 2 minutes, and then when they finish, I ask whoever would like to come up and say it. So I have 2 dads come up, and I have 3 dads come up and 3 kids, and I'm telling you, when those kids, there's no filter, those kids will tell their dads, well, my dad's never home, but I'm glad he's here, and or you feel the emotion when the dad says, I'm proud of him because you're getting good grades or whatever.
So when you had that event, had you already become the president of this organization?
No, at that moment I was a male involvement chair.
What does that mean, male involvement chair?
Yeah, we picked the name. It's funny. The male involvement chair is our goal was to my goal is to help fathers be involved in their school's life. So as I looked at other different positions, that's one that I really wanted to have an impact. So male involvement chair is really, hey, how do you go out there and encourage other fathers to be involved in their kids' life? And it's not only about their kids, but you're being a mentor if you want to or you're not. It doesn't matter if you want to, right? It's like a sports figure that says, "Hey, I don't want to be one," but he's already there. He is a mentor. People are looking at him.
Their little eyes are watching us all the time.
They're watching. So it's not only about my kids, but I really want, I want to make sure that those group of dads that are showing up, I want to make sure other dads and other kids see that, hey, this is what it should be like.
And you were also involved with the Father and Family Council. What is that?
Okay, so Father and Family Council, so we started with All Pro Dads, as I mentioned in the beginning. I met a gentleman that worked there at All Pro Dads, and so we started a program. Me and him, we actually started an organization called Father and Family Council, and that was about same thing. He saw what some of the things that worked and some of the things that didn't work, and I saw what worked and what did it from the field because I was a team captain. So I was a team captain at the school. Basically, we have team captains at different schools. So I kind of saw what worked and what didn't. Great program, right? And I just said, hey, we got to make a couple of little changes. So we got together and we decided to build something in that nature.
And I noticed on your bio here that you were a professional speaker and life coach with the Building Relationship with Osmani. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so one of my goals, I love to make a difference, right? It's just something that's built in. I want to bring the good out of people. That's I feel like that I'm here for that reason, is to bring the good out of people. So that is my passion, is to be a speaker and be able to go around the world really talking to other families about their, about being involved, their fathers being involved, and also the family structure. To me, the family structure is very, very important.
So how is it that, let's say a dad hasn't been involved, but he says, I'm going to take this first step. And you've talked to plenty of them, it sounds like.
Yes.
How do you move them from them being like I feel I have an obligation to do it, to switch it over to like, well, there's other reasons other than obligations. So how do you move them to being a real dad for the kids?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's not really for us, the fathers. It's really for the child. It's not for us. We really had our opportunity, right? So it's really for the child. It's not that child's fault if there's a divorce in the family and mom and dad and now he lives in 2 different homes. It's not his fault or her fault. So we want him to say, hey, you're not going to get it perfect. You're not going to get it perfect, but let's start. There's a book called by Gary Chapman, The 5 Love Languages, and he wrote one for children. And if there's one thing I took out of that message was, when we're speaking, if I'm not understanding your language, let's talk about it as a spouse. If my wife's love language is physical touch and mine says acts of services, If we're not speaking the same language, we're literally missing each other in terms of communication.
So how does a husband and wife and families, how do they coalesce that, those two different things?
We have to be intentional. We have to be intentional. I love self-development, because if we don't get better, right, we have to be intentional about getting better. So that you can take that into so many parts of your life. Let's take it into fatherhood. If you're not intentional about being a good dad, you're not gonna be. You're gonna miss the ball. So you have to be intentional. You have to.
And so many dads say, I'm going to go to the gym, and these are the days I'm going. I'm going to go fishing. I got the night in the bat cave, right? But how rare is it, myself included? Okay, Tuesday night, this is what I'm doing with the kids.
Correct. I'm going to give you a perfect example. A couple of years ago, I started doing a date night with my daughter. And being a man and messing up like we all do, right? I stopped doing it for a while because of whatever reason is. Well, my daughter's 17, and every once in a while she goes, when are we going to do the date nights? When are we going to do the date nights? My daughter, she's a senior in high school. She'll be sitting at the table doing her homework, and she'll say, can you sit with me? And I'll say, honey, I don't understand what you're doing. I don't understand that algebra. Like, I don't remember. She goes, Dad, I don't need you to do it. I just want you to sit with me. So see, those are the key little things that we need to be intentional. If we're not intentional about it, it will not happen.
So often we see where electronic devices get in the way of that. There's some figures that come out say when we interrupt our deep intellectual thought or meditation, when we go and we get back on the phone for a minute, it takes, they said on the average, 23 minutes to get back to where you were.
That's right.
Right? And so what I practice doing is not having the phone on the desk, not having it in my pocket, moving away so it doesn't ring, so it doesn't interrupt whatever I'm working on.
Correct.
I'm reading some books right now. I try to do it first thing in the morning. I come here early, take the phone, I put it away, and I don't need any reason to get distracted. I mean, if a fly goes by, whoosh, right? So you're right. We have to be intentional about that. So how does a dad say, I'm going to be intentional about this, and how do they set up that time set aside and live up to it with their children?
It's just like when January comes along and you set your goals. So are your family is spending more time with your family and spending more time with your kids? Is that part of the goals, right? Again, we talked about being intentional. If you don't, I love to use my calendar. I live with my calendar and my to-do list. I live by it because I realize if I don't, right, number one, I will make, you miss things. So I make sure that all those things are in my calendar. I want to make sure we try very hard to eat, dinner. We try. Sometimes I have meetings, but we try really, really hard. And by the way, I give credit to my wife and her family because that's what I saw when I met her 24 years ago. I remember going and man, they eat at the table together. My parents didn't do that. I would eat at 11 o'clock at night. There was no structure.
I remember growing up, and when 5 o'clock or 6, whatever time, there we all were. My dad said, no, this is the time.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. So we got to be intentional.
Yes. So you're pretty intentional. Years ago, you got your life coaching certificate. What is that?
So I signed up with John Maxwell life coach. I've been wanting to do that for so many years, and sometimes we don't go ahead and do it, right? And I was in my car and I was kind of praying, and I was like, where am I? What am I doing? And it popped into my mind, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I gave them a call and I said, hey, I'm gonna start it, and it's been a great experience because you're around other people that are like-minded, that want to, they want to do good in life. They're intentional. I really enjoy it.
I used to be involved with AMI. I loved it because it taught you how to be a better person.
Yes.
Right. And it was terrific being around other like-minded people. Yes. And it's like I see you used to run in high school, right? I know that was a long time ago.
That was a long
few
time
pounds ago. All right. When you're on the track, we're on a team. We're together on this. Very intentional, to do that.
Yes.
So where did you go to middle school and high school?
So I went to middle school to Palm Springs. So elementary, Dupuis Elementary, Palm Springs Middle, Hialeah Miami Lake Senior High. Started Miami-Dade College. I realized that wasn't for me at that moment in time. And then I went into the electrical. I went into the electrical trade to an electrical union, and I became an electrician.
And so you did that. Was that more commercial or residential?
It was. I worked for a medium-sized company, and the advantages of that, we learned a lot of residential, but we also did commercial and industrial. So it was a great opportunity.
Okay, so here we are, the first month of 2025. Where's Osmani going to be in 2 years from now?
In 2 years, Osmani is going to be traveling the world with my wife, speaking around the world, and talking about my book, our book.
The book you're going to be
the book that we're going to be
you're gonna
writing.
be finishing soon.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes, so often, we don't finish it and things. And so, what do you think it is that causes us to start it, and then we go, oh? So what causes us to pause?
I think we, and okay, before I answer, I think that when we make decisions, this guy told me this one time. Jose said, you make decisions with the facts that you have at that moment in time, and then you can't get past it and look back, say, hey, and excuses. But sometimes we get distracted, and you talked about it's easier for us to get distracted. Sometimes opportunities come, and we let good get in the front of great. Right? Sometimes this might be great, but a good opportunity came in and you took advantage of that one.
I made a decision after the election that I was not going to listen to anybody on my way in or out. So I have an Audible type product, and you get to pick the book. It happens to be 15 minutes, all right? Summary, and it's terrific. And so now I'm on my 10th or 12th book, and then I go, turn it on, because you're going to be thinking about something. And all those things help us move forward.
That's right.
So you're, again, so you've written your book, all right? What would you say would be your next step to cause it to be published?
To cause it to be published is, again, just all I need is a finishing editing, an editor to just kind of give me the okay, send it out, and it pretty much is ready to go. And then the next step, which is on my to-do list, is to change it into different languages. I feel that if we want to change it, right now it's in English, I want to change it into Spanish and other languages.
And back to your passion with helping dads and kids connect to each other. What caused you to be so focused and inspired to do that?
So in 2018, I had a colon cancer, something you don't expect, right? You don't expect. We went in, I was doing weights, I wasn't doing CrossFit, I was pretty healthy. From one day to the other, I get a pain, I go to the emergency room, and I get operated. So that was a 4-year season where it was very difficult. When you go through things like that, a traumatic experience, everything really shifts, and your focus really becomes narrow. All the stuff that we nag about, it's not important. What's important is your family. It's not about the money. It's really about the family and who you spend time with and who you enjoy.
A friend of ours, Francis Reeves, he happens to be an attorney for seniors. Excuse me. So she coined the phrase, at least for me, that we're on the 2-minute warning.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, you got 2 minutes left. And we see so often, so many points are scored in the final 2 minutes.
Yes.
There's even a joke on the basketball. Give everybody 100 points. You got 2 minutes left. Okay, let's start. You got 2 minutes.
Boom.
And so we're sort of at that point.
Yes.
And so, and what are some of your hopes and aspirations as far as the county council PTA?
So the hope and aspirations is that more people understand, more families understand the PTA is a great organization, right? It gives you a way into the school or community, because a PTA doesn't have to be only in a school, it can be in a community. So we have like 4 children PTA and several different community PTAs, but it's a way in. Everybody's always asking me, how do I get involved? How do I get involved? You got to go in and you got to build relationships with the families that's there, right? And like I always say, my saying that I've kind of quoted for myself is, when you show up, great things happen. So go show up, and I promise you, good things are going to happen if you show up.
Okay, so you like yourself as a public speaker. Where did you get the confidence to do that? Because we know that's in the top couple of things that people are fearful of.
Because there's no way to make a difference. You have to go out there. You have to show up. You have to show up, and there's nothing like being able to talk to someone or a group of people and really inspire them to be better.
So there are a lot of people that do want to do public speaking, whether it's in their classroom or at the head of the dinner table or wherever it is. So if somebody says, I'm so nervous, and then I want to speak up, and sometimes public speaking is at a table like this, and where they're just talking, they want to speak and be heard. So what are some things that you could suggest to somebody that they might want to do to deal with and manage their anxiety about that?
Well, just think you're just having a regular conversation. You're having a regular. I know you shouldn't wing things, but especially if you're talking about something that you're passionate about, it does become easier. When you're talking about something that you're really passionate about, the words will come up. If you're talking about it, something you're always talking about, especially if you're passionate about. We talk about fatherhood. It's just all the experiences that I've been through.
Years ago, we were involved in a pretty big issue, and I wrote this the summary of it. It took me about 20 minutes to write it, And somebody says, only 20 minutes? I said, yes, but I was doing it for 20 years.
Thank you. That's it.
So it's really the 20 and the 20.
That's it. Absolutely.
And when you have that confidence and that ability, you're able to share that. So I'm sure you had some mentors and people that helped you along your way. You got a couple in mind?
I got a couple in mind. Give out Rookie Rosell. He's a mentor at our church. And he's really put his arm around me and kind of just guided me through the process of being a better man. Who else? One of my cousins, when I started the electrical, same thing. You know, he put his arm around me and gave me the courage that I didn't have in the beginning. You know, and thanks to him, he gave me all his clients. He just really helped me to grow, you know, as a person and understand business and understand, you know, the electrical field.
Can we put up his website address? It would be good to be able to do that. So on the website we're going to have up there, what are people going to be able to see on that website?
So they're going to go there. They're going to see if you go to National PTA, you're going to be able to see everything that we stand for. So a couple of things like public health services, hot health and lunch programs, right? Juvenile justice systems. These are just some of the things. These are just some of the things that the PTA has done. So it's not just they're not just a fundraising organization, but they're an advocacy group.
And if somebody wants to be more involved with their local PTA, what can they do?
Please reach out to me. Reach out to us, right? Go to your local school and ask about the PTA. Let them know, hey, I'm interested in helping. Right? The only way to make a difference is if you get involved. I really, really urge you to get involved. Go to the school. Say, hey, I want to help. How do I get involved?
Osmani Gonzalez, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
You're a great man. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And your wife must be a wonderful woman to boot. Again, folks, thanks for joining us. Remember, take care of yourselves and your family. Have a good day.
Thank you.